So if you were to look online for how to get fit, you'd find this like a very generic, something like 5 billion people have searched for this generic thing that comes up, which is like you start exercising, you lose weight. I'm sorry, you start exercising for at least an hour a day. You need to lose weight. You have to count calories. You need to get more sleep. And I don't remember what the other one was. So I thought, okay, today I'd like to walk you through the questions that I ask when I start working with someone or when someone's in the group, or if someone comes to me and says, hey, you know what? How do I get fit? Because you know what? It is different for each of us. So thank you for being here and let's listen in. Brad, please lose the listen in as usual. So when someone first comes to me, what I've noticed is that being fit is really, it's different for all of us, and it's the same for all of us. Like, I mean, that sounds like, really, Kelly, did you just say that? But I did, because what happens is that a lot of us have very similar things that quote unquote getting fit means to us. And we're all different, right? We've all come from different paths. We've all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different things that we want. So when I'm kind of, chatting with someone and trying to figure out, what would work best, I ask them a bunch of questions, because I think that for all of us, there's this tipping point or this domino, or I don't know. If you've read the book, it's called The One Thing. There's usually like this one thing for each of us that if we start doing that, or if we figure that out, or if we kind of like dial that in, that's the thing that starts making everything else work. It's pretty it's pretty magical, really, because the truth is that I've never seen it not work. Maybe someone might have two things that they need to do, but all in all, if you can figure out what that one thing is, then it kind of just like tips over the domino and leads to everything else working. So think about this. Like, let's you and I are sitting down here and we're going to have a quick chat. And I'm going to ask you first, like, what's bothering you? Like, what's really bothering you when you think about your health, when you think about your fitness, when you think about, like, what tomorrow might bring and what it looks like today? It could be like some of the answers I get are, I'm not sleeping. I have aches and pains. I don't have any energy. Or what else? Some of them I get are, I just need to lose weight. I just need to lose weight. Or I have bad habits. It just keeps slipping in. We all have different things, but if you just sit down and ask yourself, and this, this does not have to be a big journaling thing, but stop. Like, you can even hit pause right now and just ask yourself, give yourself 20 seconds and go, what's not working? What's bothering me? Like, what's going on? Like, I mean, if I was to ask myself, like, what's not working right now? I would say that I can tell I've been sitting a lot more because I've been doing a lot of recording lately. I can tell I've been sitting a lot more. And so I'm feeling my hips are tightening up. And when my hips tighten up, it means that, walking or running or biking or all those things become harder. So, for me, like, one of the things I would say right this second is, I've been sitting too much. So what's some of the stuff that's holding you back? So you can either do it right now or do it when we get finished, but ask yourself, right? Like, 20 seconds, write it down. Some of the other things that come up, I will tell you, I see this a lot, is especially this last year, not just have I gained weight, but I'm drinking too much, or I'm eating too much sugar, or I'm eating too much junk. And so I like those kind of answers because they take something like super like big and nebulous, like, oh, I need to lose weight. And instead they're making it more real. Like, now I know that maybe you're having too many desserts, or maybe, maybe you're eating too much processed foods, or maybe you're hitting the fried food too often. Like, just what's not working? What's bothering you? And so then you can ask yourself, like, drilling down a little bit, what's your lifestyle right? I'm sorry, what's your lifestyle right? I swear I can say this. What's your lifestyle like right now? There you go. Um, Only been using this mouth for a few years. But no, what's your lifestyle like right now? Like what's the good? Okay? What's the good thing that's working? Like are you eating well? Are you exercising? Uh, are you meditating or praying or, spending that time with yourself? Like, what's some of the things in your life that are working right? Because if we only look at what's not working, then it takes us to a place we don't want to be. It takes our energy down. And this exercise is going to be about getting your energy back up. Okay. So, what are some of the things that are really working for you? Then we have to look at the other side, okay? The yin and the yang. The other side is what in your lifestyle isn't working. Okay. So now we're going from what's bothering you that I talked about earlier. And now we're going to get a little bit more specific. Like, what are you eating that's not working for you? What are you drinking that's not working for you? Is there a lot of stress in your life? If there is, why? Okay. Because some stresses we can fix or change. Some stresses we need to live with. And so we need to figure out how to work around that, right? Like, let's say the stress is that you're a caregiver to one of your parents or your parents, or you're taking care of your kids, or like maybe the work is really busy right now. Like some of those things you can't walk away from, so we need to figure out how to work with them. Okay. So are you sitting around too much? A couple of other things is like, who are you around that isn't necessarily good for you? And this doesn't have to be like in person, right? This could be, what TV shows do you watch that like take your energy down? Um, like sometimes some people, friends of mine, love like really dark shows. And when I do not. I'm like, give me the 101 Dalmatians, and that's a little bit stressful for me. But like, if you like a really dark show, then at the end of it, I want to know, how's it make you feel? Like if you feel like, oh, well, that was fun, then great, party on. But if at the end of it you're like, that kind of bothered me, then maybe that's something that is a lifestyle choice that you might want to think about. Um, and then the other side of that is like, what's the good again? Like, what are you listening to? Let's just jump onto this one. Like, who are you around that's empowering you? This could be, again, it could be TV shows, it could be people that you're around, it could be friends, it could be podcasts you listen to or books you read, right? Like, what are you doing that when you finish doing it, you feel good? Like, are you doing the meditating in the morning or the praying in the morning or whatever it is? And when you get finished, maybe journaling, you feel good. Like, what are you doing in your life right now that makes you feel great? Um, I've mentioned this before. I have several friends who, what they like, they do dance parties. Like me, I don't do dance parties. I'm not a great dancer, but like I have friends that just like turn on the music and go wild. Um, Sing, whatever it is, like what are you doing right now that's bringing that energy up, that's making you feel good? What's a lifestyle choice that's working really well? And then I guess the last question I'd like to ask is, so what are you doing? Let me rephrase that. I always like to say, what's your why, right? Like, what's your why? But that's kind of a vague thing. What do you want? Like, what would make you feel awesome? What do you want in your life? What do you want to be doing? Um, what's your why? Like, who's in your life that you want to be able to support? A lot of times, people that I work with, women that I work with, their kids may be grown, but they might have grandchildren coming. And they want to be like 100% vital for those grandkids so that they can go play, so they can do the wild things. Can they take them camping or hiking or I don't care to, the movies, whatever it is, like have fun. So ask yourself, like, what is it that you really want to be able to do? And then add to that. a little bit more. Like add to that the idea of what is it that you would love to do in your life that would be wildly fun, that would be wildly adventurous, that would be wildly appropriate or inappropriate, doesn't matter. Like what's something that would get you excited, really excited? Because when we know some of those things, this is what happens. We can make plans. Duh, right? That's easy. We can actually go a little step further and go, well, if something that I really want to do is go on a kayaking trip in the San Juan Islands, then now you know that in order to do that, we're going to have to go back to everything we already talked about and get your fitness to the place where you can do those things. So when you know the answer to these things, then what you start finding out is that you can find that one thing, maybe those two things that you need to do right now that are going to make the biggest difference. So some of them could be like ones that I see a lot are maybe someone needs to decide to quit eating so much sugar or drinking so much wine, because what that does is when you do that, it will it has this downhill effect, right? It affects your sleep. When you eat junk, then the next day you crave junk. When you do that, you don't sleep well, then you don't want to exercise the next day, right? So you have less energy. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having wine or having dessert. What I'm saying is that when it gets to that point where it's starting to affect our health, then it could be one of the one things that make a difference. Another one thing that I see a lot is lack of movement and mobility. And where movement and mobility come in is maybe there's a whole lot more time spent sitting in front of the computer or in front of the TV or on the couch or whatever it is, instead of moving. And when you move, it's the old body in motion stays in motion, right? The more that you start moving, the more inclined you are to exercise, do more, try more things, and look for new things. And then the same thing with mobility. So mobility is when things have been hurting, aches and pains in the joints or the knees or the ankles or the shoulders or whatever it is, and you take the step to stop it. And a lot of times, I mean, I cannot tell you how many times this is probably 95% is, and that's a pretty high number, 95% of the time when someone says to me, oh, my knees are hurting, I need to go get knee surgery, and no letters behind my names, ladies, none. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm nothing but someone who's talked to a lot of people in my life. So someone says that to me, and I always say, well, before you get that surgery, I mean, is that surgery imminent? Is this something that you have to have right away? No, my doctor just says that, it's probably something I'm going to have to do sometime. Okay. So before that surgery, what if you took a period of time and got really serious about adding movement and mobility to your life? Like, what if? I mean, I have people all the time that tell me, oh, I have a frozen shoulder. I'm like, you've got a frozen shoulder. Okay. What's that mean? Oh, it means at some point, there's something wrong in there and I'm going to have to get it fixed. A lot when you start focusing on the mobility that is stopping that shoulder from being so happy, then all of a sudden, people start feeling better and aches and pains do start disappearing. I think it was I'm going to make this up. I think it's episode 128, but we will definitely put it in the notes. One of my clients, the whole thing is about her going from being in a lot of pain to actually just feeling amazing. And what she did was she started exercising more. She got serious. She changed her diet, and she is rocking and rolling right now. So, it's kind of like finding those things. Another one that could be a big deal is strength. We lose muscle. People lose muscle. Women lose muscle quicker, unfortunately. It starts a whole lot sooner than people think, too. It starts, late 20s, early 30s, not 50s or 60s, like so often we're told. It starts early. So if your strength is slipping, then by getting stronger, that may be one of those things, that may be your one thing. By getting that strength back up, then it's going to help everything else. Um, and then, other things are like having something to look forward to, right? Having something to train for. That's something that I use a lot with my group, because when we have something to train for, there's not just this camaraderie and not just this, looking forward. There's also this need to, or this knowledge that you need to get, you need to get busy. You need to be doing these things consistently, because if you're not being consistent, then you're going to be really sad because it's going to hurt. So like having something to look forward to, and it can be anything. It can be anything, but it's got to be something specific. Okay. That's the only trick here, is you need to have something specific. It could be a specific event. It could be a specific trip. It could be like, you pick it, but you need to know that it's not some sort of nebulous moving thing in the future, right? It's not that I'm looking forward to weighing less. That's not it. This is, I've got something and I'm excited about it. And a couple of other things, like what motivates you, right? Like maybe you just need that personal motivation, and motivation comes and goes. Okay. Like willpower comes and goes. Um, those things can be a little bit of an energy up and down. So what happens is that when you get consistent, when you figure out what that one thing is and you get consistent with it, then it's easier to stay on track, even when the motivation is slipping, or, the willpower is waning, because willpower is like truly, willpower is not a real thing. Well, it is a real thing, but it's a very, very small amount of everything that we really do in life. So you don't want to be counting on willpower. Motivation is nice, but having a consistent plan gets you where you need to be every time. So think about the fact that like fitness is just so much more than a number on the scale. It's how you feel, it's what you can do, it's like what you have to look forward to. It's what life looks like today and is going to look like tomorrow. So take a little time. Doesn't have to be a lot. Take a little bit of time and just look at the big picture. Look at all these questions that, I mean, this is just a small sliver of what I put my people through, but this gives you an idea. Like, look at what you can figure out by asking yourself these questions, or looking around in your life, so that you can find one, maybe two things that if you change now are going to make the difference. And you're not one of those 5 billion people searching on the web, like, how do I get fit? And it tells you to exercise an hour a day, count your calories, and I don't remember what else, sleep. Like, that's it. No, that's not real, because without knowing what really works for us each individually, then those things aren't really going to make a big difference. So good luck. Do this exercise. Let me know. I really want to hear. Drop me an email. Drop by the website at fitisfreedom.com. Find me on Facebook. I'm on all social media at fitisfreedom, and let me know what you figured out, like what your one thing is, and then what your next thing is, and then the thing after that. Because once you figure out your one thing, then the domino starts tipping over, and you sleep better, you feel better, you've got your energy, nothing hurts anymore. Or, if it does hurt, it's just like minimal, and you know how to fix it, and you're strong, and you're vibrant, and you have things to look forward to. So have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again next week. See you. Bye-bye now.